This is Staccato from the Second Street Dreams audio network. I'm Judelyn Gibson. This week, I have a note dotting the classical music landscape in Sweden. And that's where we start your summer reading list. The book, Let Your Heart Be Broken, by composer Tina Davidson, is the story of her secretive, confusing, and ultimately resolved life so far.
I lived in Sweden until I was 3.5 in a foster home. And then my adopted mother came, adopted me. She was an American, brought me to America. And when I talked to her about the adoption process, she would kind of clam up. And she was a college professor, very smart, really wonderful ability to articulate and tell stories. And she was also an amateur violinist. She really believed in music, really got me hooked into music.
When Davidson was in her early 20s, she returned to Sweden and found out some surprising information.
My adopted mother was my biological mother. In a way, in a very smart way, had protected me and her in the 50s by adopting me. But in a very confusing way, had also never acknowledged me. My mother had sent me away to a high school in Philadelphia, and actually, I had lived with my father's family for a year without knowing he was my father.
Davidson would eventually put all the questions about her family aside to pursue her career of choice, composing music.
And certainly in my music, I started to allow that dark child to speak out more. I have a wonderful cello quartet called Dark Child Sings. And for years, I really was grieving the loss of my first family.
And then came the book, Let Your Heart Be Broken.
I think what I try to do in this story is to talk about this with compassion, understanding, but also with boundaries. Like this was hurtful. This caused a lot of pain, not only to myself, but to so many family members. For me, that knowledge has been so important as I continue to write music and explore myself, not only emotionally, but also spiritually, and how I connect to a larger whole.
Tina Davidson, author of Let Your Heart Be Broken. Find the links on the Staccato page on secondstreetdreams.com. That's Staccato. I'm Judelyn Gibson on the Second Street Dreams audio network on secondstreetdreams.com.